اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا.
اللهم صل على محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقاعدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. صلوات صل على محمد وآله. The respected elders, mu'mineen, azadar of Imam al-Hussain, Wasalaam alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Indeed, it is the honor of Abba Abdullah and service to Abba Abdullah that once again, with his command, I've been called back, inshallah, and with your du'as that he accepts this majlis today, inshallah. Indeed, there has been an outburst of many people coming and speaking and mocking the azadari of Imam al-Hussain. And this is inshallah something I'd like to speak about, because when you look at Arbaeen is the day of azadari. When you look at Arbaeen and Bibi Zainab alayha specifically and Imam Syed alayhi salam, they are the stand of azadari. What does azadari mean? Azadari means to propagate the message of Abba Abdullah al-Hussain. When someone says anything against azadari, against the propagation of the message of Abba Abdullah al-Hussain, be they Sunni, be they Shi'i, they unite on Abba Abdullah al-Hussain. If you are against the propagation of the message of Abba Abdullah al-Hussain, then you are against his grandfather Rasulullah. You are against his father Ali al-Murtada. You are against his mother Sayyidah Fatima Zahra. And you are against his brother Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba. Recite aloud salawat. Indeed, when we look at the topic of azadari, we ourselves have to look at our actions, our amal, our day-to-day life. Azadari doesn't just mean to come here 10 days, come on Arbaeen day and leave the rest of the imams alone. Unfortunately, we see this in masjids. Azadari means to keep the message or the light of Imam al-Hussain alive such Like for example, we're here in Watford, keep it alive in such a way that the rest of the community, be they Muslim or non-Muslim, they benefit from the light of Hussein. The message is not to be localized. The message should be nationalized. What does this mean? The message coming out from this masjid should be so great, and every Husainiyah should be so great that it enlightens the entire universe. Because don't forget, Allah is doing the same thing. What does Allah say in the Holy Quran? He says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. He's saying, O you who believe, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you who have iman, do what? Do what Allah and the angels do in the samawat, in the heavens. What do? They send peace and blessings upon Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And there is a narration. What does the narration say? Rasulullah is asked about salawat. He says the salawat is incomplete without the mention of his ahl, without the mention of his family. He is a part of the command and the a'mal that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does. And this shows in Karbala the yaqeen of Aba Abdullah al-Hussein. And indeed, when you see Zainab Salamullah alayha, she realizes this. And this is why you see Imam Sajjad alayhi salam plays an important role in Karbala. Because without Imam Sajjad and without Bibi Zainab Salamullah alayha, indeed these majalis would not be alive today. The effort of Zainab Salamullah alayha is seen yesterday, today, and every day to come. And even on Yawm al-Qiyamah, where on that day, every eye shall cry, except the eye that cried for Aba Abdullah al-Hussein. For why? They will be smiling on such a day where their Mawla Aba Abdullah al-Hussein is avenged. Where they will come to face to face with their deeds. There is a narration that Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari, he quotes the Holy Prophet. What does he say? He says, O Atiyya, Ya Atiyya, the people that, recite aloud salawat. The Holy Prophet says, whoever loves a nation will be raised up with that nation, and whoever okays or is okay with the deed of someone or a nation, that same person will be raised as such that he is an accomplice of that deed. So therefore, my brothers that have been given these lectures online for everyone to see against Azadari of Imam al-Hussein, when you are raised with Yazid, don't be surprised. When we are raised with Hussein, don't be surprised. For as we said in the 10 days of Muharram, you can be with Hizbul Shaitan, but the one that will remain is Hizbullah. And that is the party of Imam al-Hussein. Indeed, in Karbala, there is a time where we left you on the 10th of Ashura, on the day of Ashura, on the 10th of Muharram. The scene is such where Shimmer is sitting upon the chest of Aba Abdullah al-Hussein. You know, I was listening to a poetry. The poetry said something that broke my heart. He said that the dust was inside the throat of Aba Abdullah, so much so he would struggle to speak and breathe. Why? He gets an effort. He managed to make an effort. What effort does he make? He turns around. He says, "Oh Shimmer, don't cut me from the front of my throat. Shimr asks, why? He says, this is the throat that my grandfather would kiss. Mu'mineen, you know, this Zalim Umar ibn Sa'ad is so proud he would stay there all evening. And not just all evening, he would stay through to the next day. And what would he do in between this time? In between this time, he would trample the horses upon the body of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. The horses on the right would go to the left, and the horses on the left would go to the right. It is said as they go, Abu Abdullah's body goes up and down. This is Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. Wa Husayna. The time comes, Umar ibn Sa'ad, he starts to come towards the camp of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, and the women are all alone. The women, some children are orphans. Zainab's lost her brothers. Zainab's lost her sons. And there's no one to mourn on Muhammad. She cries for Ali and Akbar. Oh, Zainab, you want to do azadari? Look at Zainab Samullah alayha. You want to see how to be devoted to Abu Abdullah? Look at Zainab Samullah alayha. She walks past the bodies as they're taken captives. She goes to the body of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. She kneels on the hot desert plains of Karbala. She kneels down. She digs her hand under the body of Abu Abdullah with no head. She raises the body and she says, Wa Muhammada Wa Abata. She says, Oh Muhammad, oh my father, oh Ja'far, oh Ja'far, come and look at what they've done to Abu Abdullah. She makes dua to the skies. Look at the iman of Sayyida Zainab. She says, Oh Allah, accept this sacrifice on our behalf. Oh Zainab, as they take you to Kufa. Which Kufa? This same Kufa, it is narrated that once Ali and al-Murtada would start to breathe his last moments as they take him towards his house after the strike. What happens? Sayyida Zainab's wails are heard by the ears of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Look at the gaira of Amir al-Mu'mineen. He says to Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba, take my companions back. He says, why, oh father, what's wrong? These are our lovers. Why do you want to turn them back? He says, I don't want them to hear Sayyida, I don't want them to hear my daughter Zainab. She's very close to my heart. What does she say and what happens? I'd like to take you, Ya Ali and al-Murtada, to Karbala. In Karbala, after they killed her brother, they started to parade in Kufa. She has no niqab. This is Sayyida Zainab Samullah alayha. The Kufans start to cry their tears, and this makes Zainab cry more. What's the point of your tears now? Why do you cry now? What happened when my brother was alive? When Islam needed your sacrifice? Oh coward people, the time would come. This is a sight that imagine your sister sees. If this was your sister, how would you feel? There's your head in front of the Zalim Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad. As it's brought forward, what does he do? He gets the stick and he starts to poke the teeth of Abu Abdullah. Oh, Zainab, she would cry, and they ask her, why you cry? They say, don't you know these are the lips and these are the teeth and this is the throat that was kissed by Rasulullah. A time comes in Sham. Forgive me, a time comes in Sham where they make her wait outside. Why do they make them wait? They say we have to make Sham ready for the captives. Who are the captives? These are the Ahlulbayt. This is the house of Fatima. This is the house of Ali and al-Murtada. This is the house of Rasulullah. They made captive in such a way where people don't hold back. Those that have stones, they start chucking stones from windows. Those that have boiling water, they throw boiling water upon Sayyida Zainab. Oh, Zainab, oh, this is Zainab who people could not even look at. Oh, Ali, look at the lowliness of Sayyida Zainab. Oh, when she goes in Damascus, when she goes in the darbar of Yazid, when she goes in the courtyard of Yazid, this is Zainab who people never ever heard her voice, but today they're able to hear her entire speech. A speech that Imam Sajjad says she speaks even more eloquently than any scholar. When a companion of Imam Ali and al-Murtada hears, he says, this is Nahjul Balagha. He says, this is the peak of eloquence. He thinks it's Ali speaking. This is the daughter. A time comes in Arbaeen where eventually Yazid starts to release them. When he releases them, the first thing Zainab says is, appoint for me a house in which I can do the Majlis of my brother Hussein. She starts to get the people, the women of Sham. The first Majlis is held by Bibi Zainab Samullah alayha. What does she do? She tells them that my brother died thirsty on the desert plains of Karbala. My brother is the one that is massacred without any water. He's neither in the air nor on the ground. He remained in Karbala so the dust would cover him. You know, a time comes where the 40th eventually happens and the Ahlulbayt are making their way towards Karbala. In Karbala there's an ashab. What's the ashab's name? He's known as Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari. He's with his companion Atiyah. He says to Atiyah, Ya Atiyah, let's prepare to go do ziyarah. Some people ask you, if Jabir was a great companion, where was he in Karbala? He was blind, he could not see. So when he takes his companions, he takes them for his own assistance to help him. What happens? Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari, he goes towards Karbala, he goes towards the Euphrates, he does ghusl. After he does ghusl, he wears new clothes. After he wears new clothes, he looks at his wallet. In his wallet there's a special plant that gives good fragrance. He rubs this fragrance around him. He tells, oh Atiyah, take me towards the grave of Abu Abdullah, towards my beloved Hussein. You know what he says? Atiyah says, I can't see which one is the grave. They're all sand. They've been covered by sand. I don't know which one is the grave. You know what Jabir does? Jabir says, take me to each grave. I can smell the fragrance of Hussein. I'll tell you which one is his grave. The narration says he goes towards every grave until he reaches a grave. And when he goes on the grave, he starts to cry so much so that he passes out. When he passes out, Atiyah says, I started to get the water and sprinkle it on the face of Jabir. He said, oh Jabir, wake up. As he wakes up, he says, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Ya Hussein. He starts to say, oh Hussein, 3 times. And he says in his poetry, he says, oh Hussein, I want to respond to your lover and your visitor. It's me, Jabir, I've come to visit you, answer me. You know, there's a moment of silence. And after the moment of silence is broken, Jabir speaks again. What does he say? He says, oh Hussein, how can you reply when each vein was severed one by one? How can you reply when your head has been severed from your body and your women have been taken captive to Sham? You know, at that moment, he starts to read the ziyarah. He says something ajib in the ziyarah. He says that I swear by the one who sent Muhammad with the truth. Surely we participated in your stand, O Hussein. Atiyah's confused. And then he says, oh Jabir, why do you say this? We were not killed like them. Neither were our women taken captives like those that supported Hussein. Nor did we go aboard a mountain or climb down a mountain. Nor did we raise a sword for them. He says, oh Atiyah, Rasulullah says that the one who loves a nation, he will be raised with that nation. And the one that is okay with the deed or in support of the deed of the nation will be raised with that nation. He says, by Allah, I am with the intention that was the same as the intention of Hussein and his companions. This is Aba Abdullah al-Hussein, and this is my support for Aba Abdullah. You know, Jabir, he starts to fall unconscious again. As he wakes up, he hears some noises. There's a caravan coming, there's a caravan approaching, and the horses, and they are moving with their hooves. As they move on the ground, he goes to Atiyah, says, Ya Atiyah, see who's coming. See who's coming. If it's the army of Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad, let's hide. But if it's my master, Imam Sajjad, tell me, and we shall go to his ziyarah. He goes and he sees Imam al-Sajjad. You know, there's a majlis that happens. What is the majlis? There in Karbala, Bibi Zainab, she comes. She goes to Jabir, and as she sees there's a conversation between Imam Sajjad and Jabir ibn Abdullah. What does Jabir say? Jabir says, tell me what happened in Karbala. Oh Sajjad. Sajjad starts to weep tears of blood. What does Sajjad say? Sajjad says, here is Abu Abdullah, my father. He has no kafan. This is the man who my father, he's my father, and he remained unburied for 3 days. This is Hussein, the son of Ali and Fatima to Zahra. Oh, you know where Zainab goes? Zainab goes towards the Euphrates. She sees that Hazrat Abbas, she goes to the same maqam where Abbas fell. She goes to the maqam of the hands. And what does she say? She says, oh Abbas, take my arms and take me towards Medina. I can't bear to go by myself. She says, as she goes towards where Ghazi Abbas was shaheed and where he fell, he says, oh, take my eyes and guide me towards Medina. What happens? Eventually, the poet says what? He says that, in the Arsh, Ghazi Abbas would cry at this statement. He would say, if only I didn't fall in Karbala. If only I was alive, I'd take you, Sister Zainab. Eventually, there's a time where Owen and Muhammad are mourned, and that time is in Medina. When she goes to Medina, she knocks on the door of Abdullah ibn Jafar at-Tayyar. He asks, who are you, O old woman? He says, who are you, O old woman? He doesn't recognize Sayyidah Zainab, the amount of torment she goes through. You know, they reach a time where she's allowed inside the house. When she's allowed inside the house, she tells, oh Abdullah, recognize me, I am your wife, I am Zainab. You know, she reaches the bedroom. Which bedroom? Where her two sons would lie down and go sleep. Forgive me, oh mothers who are listening to this. She starts to caress the bedding of On and Muhammad. She lies on one bed and then she switches and lies on the other bed. She says, don't say that my sons have no one to mourn them. I am Zainab and I mourn them. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Peace be upon you, Aba Abdullah. And peace be upon Ali, son of Hussain, and the family of Abu Abdullah Hussain and his beloved companions. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Salawat.